Having a broken leg has taught me a lot about my shop layout, and what I've learned in the last week is that my setup is absolute trash. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Today we're going to remedy it. We're tearing everything out and we're going to start over and do it right, this time properly. So what's the problem? The problem is that everything is too far away. Now, before I got my stool, I really realized that. I was over there, I thought, well, if I could sit down and work on something, and I thought that I had everything within arm's reach, but what I didn't realize is that now that I got to get up and get on crutches and go back and forth, it's terrible. I mean, the amount of space that I have to cover back and forth is ridiculous. It is ridiculous to have your prime real estate of your shop being taken up by long-term storage items that you just never or rarely use. I've been working in the shop for over a year now, and what I find where I like to be and where I like to work is by the wood stove. Usually if it's sunny and warm, I'm outside, but the majority of the time living at the mountains, it's always cold, and I'm always working by the wood stove. So this is my prime space. This is my most important space, and it's completely underutilized. I'm storing firewood over here. Instead of having something where I could actually be doing my work with good lighting, I've got long-term storage here, which is a bad idea. I've got some tactical gear and stuff in there. I maybe get in there once a month. Ammunition storage, I maybe get in there twice a year. I mean, rarely do I even go in there. And here it is, right next to the stove in the most primo spot, completely wasting space and just a poor design. My workbench that I put up here is just too small. It's too small. You can't really have any big projects on it. It feels kind of boxed in next to all these cabinets. This is more of a priority cabinet here. This is where I keep my photography equipment. So what we're going to do is to completely scrub this entire wall and get rid of this stuff. We're going to put these long-term cabinets here, which long-term storage, over here to the left and eliminate this table. So that's going to be right next to the door and away from the fireplace, and this is my prime real estate. The 12, 13 feet to the right and my 12, 13 feet to the left of the wood stove. Here's what I'm thinking, gentlemen. My buddy Owen owns a custom cabinet shop, and they came over and checked on me the other day. They were snow biking up at Mount Fuji, and he came into the shop, and I asked him, could you possibly build me a set of cabinets in this little alcove right here to turn into a proper, goodness, look at this old boomer trying to run this game. There it is. This is what he mocked up. Pretty impressive, isn't it? Do you see right there? He's built in, what detail. He's built in the toolbox. He even got the right model. That is amazing right there. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to get a 24-inch deep toolbox, which is what you see over there to the right, and I'll show you why I chose what I did to kind of anchor, to anchor this whole thing in. I want to take the wheels off. I want it to be built in to a cabinet, like a bank of drawers. We'll put it on a toe kick and then color match 3 cabinets. You can see there are 3 banks of drawers to the right, and then just some uppers. Now, what would this be for? This is going to be my primary workstation. This would give me 13 feet of workspace right next to the wood stove with that alcove. And I've really enjoyed working there. So what we can do is once we build that, our wood stove is right here. And now on this wall, let's back up here. Man, this is some pretty cool software. There's the man door. On this wall, now this is our primo space that we really want to protect for only things that are going to be used. So for me, what I'm thinking is rather than having my bench grinders on a table and it takes up all the space, what we'll do is we'll do pedestal bench grinders right on the wall, dedicated, plugged in, ready to go. So 1 buffer polisher, 1 grinder, wire wheel. And then we can put our parts washer over here a little bit further away from the, how do I back this up? A little bit further from the wood stove so we don't have any flammable issues, maybe over here closer to the door, and then a media blaster in here. So right here, it gives a really great work area where I can bring the bikes in. A nice 13-foot counter across the back with uppers and lowers. I've got the paint code. We can paint to match, get the paint at Sherwin-Williams, and then we're going to have a beautiful work area. Now, what's going to be in that work area? Mostly specialized tools for small engines, because really the The majority of the time that I spend working on stuff is on motorcycles and power sports stuff. ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, that sort of thing. I rarely work on vehicles. We drive newer vehicles, so there's really not much maintenance to do apart from changing oil. Now my primary tools, of course, go in the big black cart right there. So if need be, if I want to work on my truck, I can simply roll it over there and into that bay and pull it in there. Unfortunately, I'm pretty useless today. I had a rough night. I didn't sleep very well and just not feeling all that great today. So Jack and Jirai are going to come out and help me empty these cabinets, and we'll get that moved around. Once we get that all cleared off, I think we can see things clearer and we'll be able to make some good decisions. I've got a couple pedestals ordered for the buffer and grinder. I know that those are going to need to go there because I use them all the time, and I'm tired of not having them plugged in ready to go. And then now with the new parts washer, and then hopefully a media blaster if I can find one on Craigslist. Okay, gentlemen, here's what we're trying to accomplish here. So starting from right to the left, let's leave the fire with that. We'll just burn that up for now. Let's pull both these cabinets, the contents, put them on a couple pallets, and then we'll shove that over here, just get out of our way or whatever you think best. We'll tear down the vise, pull the post out, the boost block, all of the louver board, all that comes down. This adjustable table is gone. Pull the louvers and everything off of that. I want a clean sweep on this whole wall, and we'll just rotate these guys around in step by depth. All right, Mama, come on over. Got me Pendleton blanket. Good, and life's good. All right. Yeah. Some Metamucil or something? Come here.
What?
Isn't that what old people drink?
Honey and whiskey.
Honey and whiskey. I like Jiraiya's recommendation better. Hey, Jack, make yourself useful and sit on this for me.
Huh?
I need some weight. Drop the seat. Perfect, thank you. Get my leg up. Okay, hold on. Hold on. What changed the way wars were fought during the Crusade was the English archers that had the long yew bows, and then they invented a tip called a bodkin that was able to pierce through any armor. And these English bowmen were so strong to pull those war bows back that when they dig them up, archaeologists, they find that their whole if they were right-handed, the right side of their body and their spine is curved, deformed because the muscle development is so massive in the back of the shoulder. Mm-hmm. And when the French were so afraid of them and hated them so much, when they caught them, they cut off their two fingers. Yeah. So this sign V for victory, where that came from was British bowmen across the line holding up, like, we still have our fingers, we're still deadly. I had a good friend when I was growing up whose granddad was about the same age as my granddad. He was a master electrician. And when they were wiring his house, he would take his fingers and lick his fingers and just touch the wires and like, yeah, that's 240, that's 110. He was old school. He was a good dude.
My good buddy from high school, his foreman turned out to be colorblind over time.
That's bad for an electrician. Jack, some of the guys were saying you needed to cut your mop.
Some point. I'm not going to be the one cutting it. Not that much.
I'll tell you can use my Flowbee. That's how I maintain my Lego haircut. Quite a bit of slope in the floor here, and Jiraiya is doing a little leveling with some washers. Jack, did you get Granddad's washer drawer?
Huh?
Did you get Granddad's washer drawer?
I didn't bring it in. I just grabbed a bunch of...
So those washers look like they're going to fall over pretty easy. They're a little small. I was thinking something bigger, like big washers.
There should be another drawer.
Yeah, I think there's another drawer that has big washers in it. Here There is nothing Mom and I like better than our warm Pendleton blanket. They're made out of Oregon sheep's wool. Well, should we sit down for a bit? I know, come on. Oh, I messed up. I gotta lower my scooter. Now it makes a proper footstool. Hang on there for a minute. You find any baby mice in that parts drawer?
8.
Come on.
You want the drawer? Use that again?
All right, Mama, let's go get some firewood. We can at least do that, right? I heard the funniest comment yesterday. You know what a dead cat is, right? It's the fuzzy thing you see that covers a microphone. It's called a dead cat.
Okay, got it.
So when you see like the big ones on the, like the press has and such, it's to cut down wind noise. And so I was, in yesterday's video, I was holding Mama Kitty, and she was covering up my microphone, and everything was really muffled. And so somebody said, dead cat equals good sound, live cat equals bad sound, or something like that. It was, I laughed. It was one of the funniest comments I think I've ever read.
Reducing the United States federal government's military importing and exporting of units. You know, they're like constantly transporting units from one military base to another.
Yeah.
Cut down on like a percentage number of how often that actually happens, and then just save a bunch of money that doesn't need to be spent.
How about bring them all home and build some really kick-ass nuclear space-age weapons and say, don't tread on us and we won't bother you. A common mistake that I continue to make when setting up these shops is not spending time in it and just immediately going in and start building. When I took this or started in this space, we put those cabinets up and I put the workbench up, and that was even before I had the wood stove in place. And a guy would be better off to kind of maybe set things up temporarily and then work in it for a few months until you kind of feel the flow and what's going to be the most productive way to set it up for you. For me, I knew I wanted to be by the wood stove, and so the last week I've been in here completely going through and rebuilding my bike, and I've got a chance to work in the space, and I like it. I like the way it feels. I like its proximity to the stove. It doesn't feel too crowded in here. It's a very nice, pleasant place to work. And had I done that in the first place, I wouldn't be redoing all of this. But you live and learn. That's why I do these videos, so that hopefully you guys can not make the same mistakes that I made. But being here and having, with my leg all messed up and having to work on this bench, this little stool, it's actually quite nice. And having my tool cart right here where I can access all my primary hand tools and such is convenient, because I can work right here, I can turn around, I can get whatever I need, and then things that are more specialized, like perhaps torque wrenches or specialty parts for bikes or different things that you don't use all that often, can be secured back there in the blue cabinet, which will be permanently affixed. Then we'll have a nice countertop across there, good lighting, and everything in one place. So a guy really has a very efficient workflow. So from right here in this one small space, with a quick roll or one step, you have a good workbench we'll have a vise there. Whatever machine we're working on here, we can do that. We can add fire, we can wash our parts, all in this very small area. And doesn't matter how cold it is, you're always going to have heat, and I think it's going to be working out good. It was nice to have a chance to kind of feel it out and spend some time with it and be sure before you make all the investment in benches and toolboxes and all that it's going to work for you. Mama Kitty, do all cats drool or just you? It's disgusting. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.